Good afternoon, good morning, good evening to BC Spirits episode. I think I'm on episode 17 now. I can't remember. It's been a while since I did an episode. I apologize for that. If you've been following along on my personal social media or whatnot, you have realized that I have not been in BC, so I can't speak about BC Spirits. Mainly because I've been in Singapore doing some work for 7 weeks, actually, and I'm about to do a 9-week stint away this coming Friday. So I'm trying to get as many episodes as I can get in the can beforehand, which might be another 5 maybe, so I'll cover half the time I'm gone. But the one great thing about being away is that you can get to miss the country and the province that you live in, which is a really big thing for me. And when I got back, the wife and I were chatting and we said, let's go to the Okanagan for a trip. And obviously I'd love to do a family trip and not have to do any work, but I just love what I do. And so I had to go visit some BC distilleries. So we did a trip to Vernon, which is about an hour north of Kelowna. Of course, we went to the Kangaroo Zoo, which kept my daughter happy when I was saying, hey, let's go for a ride for an hour to go see a distillery, and she didn't understand why Daddy had to do that. And then we went all the way to the Narromata Bench to Legends. We did a bit of Bella, because you always have to get some bubbles. We did the Joie, and then we did Maple Leaf. We went to, finally we went to Summerland. I wanted to go to Old Order, but they were shut on the Sunday, so that's another thing I couldn't do, and I really wanted to get down to Noteworthy and Oliver, but that's another trip, and I can plan another trip now when I get back for my next trip. So today I want to talk about liqueurs, because I've talked about liqueurs a little bit. We've done lemon and orange, we've done an episode strictly on liqueurs, which are weird little things here and there. We also did coffee liqueurs. But I really wanted to do something when I was in the Okanagan, and so we went to a few distilleries, obviously. And the last one I went to actually was one of the newest, and it was this one right here, Alchemist. So we're doing sort of weird BC flavors, but they're not typical BC liqueurs, if that makes sense. You'll understand what I'm talking about in a moment. So Alchemist is really shaking up things. One of the newest distilleries in BC, based out of Summerland. Nice little industrial estate just off the highway. Don't worry about the cattle grate when you ride over it. You know you're on the right way. All their spirits are apple based, so I'm really looking forward to doing this apple liqueur based on apple spirit. Their stills are very interesting because the still, instead of being made out of copper, where you get that interaction and the relationship between the copper and alcohol that you need from distillation, they have these copper rings that are in this big glass column that the vapor actually pours through, and that's where that interaction comes into play. So on the nose you get that beautiful fragrant floral apple base. So it's apple on apple. It's not neutral spirit with apple, it's apple on apple. And it tastes like the apple spirit hasn't been over distilled and completely stripped of all its flavor. It's still got a lot of that apple flavor. Oh, this takes me back to apple strudel or apple strudel and ice cream. Oh my god, apple strudel. It's reminding me of pastry, even though obviously there's no pastry. The texture, that sugary sweet spice. It really is like apple strudel, apple pie. Bartenders, if you like apple as a flavor profile, get yourself some of this, because I think that this is going to change up a lot of spirits here in a lot of liqueurs here in BC. Good work, Alchemist. They're changing a lot of things up. They've shaked up a lot of stuff. Their absinthe got a whole bunch of awards at BC Distilled, which I was really happy to see. They really seem to know what they're doing, and they've just come out the gate freaking strong. Next up is a distillery near and dear to my heart. You've heard me talk about it a million times over. I love fruit spirits, so these people who are the most genuine, hard-working, just completely salt of the earth, German couple, Annette and Jorg up at Maple Leaf Spirits. Let me get the angle right. This year they did a pear liqueur, maybe the last couple of years. All of a sudden they've gone from this little distillery that nobody knew about to, holy shit, everybody wants their brandy. I'm not going to say that's my fault. I wish I could take praise for that. I really do. But all of a sudden their Lady of the Casket's just blown up. Everybody wants it. They're getting phone calls from all over the country. It's awesome. They make a really good pear eau de vie. I got a bottle of that. But now they've made a pear liqueur, so they sweeten it with more pears and some sugar. So again, this is pear on pear. Oh god, you get that beautiful pear eau de vie that's just their smell. Oh my god. And then it's just bright, almost acidic. The acid's been balanced off really, really well with the sugar. But it's not cloying sweet. It's like biting into a fresh pear. One that's maybe overripe on the tree, like that sort of flavor profile. Oh. It's just pear on pear on pear. It's just delightful. Bartenders, if you love pear, if you like apple, these are two you need to have in your selection. Especially if you're a local spirits bar. If I had a local spirits bar, again, man, I would just have some crazy shit behind that bar. So next up, I went up to Vernon on the very first day. We went to the kangaroo zoo because, well, my daughter wanted to go to the kangaroo zoo, obviously, and I was on a family vacation. But the guys at Okanagan Spirits have always been massive supporters of me. Tyler and the team up there gave me a tour. Just a fantastic facility. Go on my Instagram, you'll see it. I've got a little thing on the BC Spirits. So this one I was really looking forward to. I'm just going to get a light right. The Rhubarb Liqueur from them. This is just... because rhubarb can go either way. Like, you can have fresh rhubarb that you like that's cooked off a little bit, and you eat that with like yogurt and stuff. You've got super stewed rhubarb that's a spice, like more towards like apple pie style, like the apple liqueur from Alchemist. But this one, it is this spectrum of flavor. You get this really deep tone of rhubarb, and you just know what you're drinking. Oh, straight away. But then you get this like acidity going on your tongue, and just clears that sugar off. Now this one I know is, I believe it's their fruit-based liqueur. So their fruit-based liquor. And what they do is they just get tons and tons of rhubarb in massive containers, shove rhubarb in it, cover it with alcohol, put some sugar on top, let it sit. Old school. They still, for how big they are, they still hand bottle, they still hand label, which is just... I walk through, I'm like, where's your canning line? Where's your bottling line? This makes no sense. You need a bottling line. You're a freaking huge distillery. No, we do everything by hand still. I'm like, that's just mental. I've got some great whiskeys from them that are going to be up in the next couple of weeks as well. Whiskey-ish 1.0. I'm going to call it whiskey-ish because I was going to split it and I'm like, fuck it. Let's just do it all like whiskey-ish. Just let's taste everything. So next up, this one I haven't tasted ever. And it's one that I've wanted for years and years and years. And it's called... the Seabuckthorn. Now, Seabuckthorn's a little berry. I can't remember. I was actually looking this up. And what did they say Seabuckthorn was like? Oh, was it like an elderflower? Don't quote me on that. I'm trying to remember because I looked it up and it was really crazy. And so, locally harvested Seabuckthorn. On the nose, it's funky. Ooh, but a little bit of perfume there too. Oh. But it's because nobody knows what Seabuckthorn tastes like, it's really hard to... I'll tell you what Seabuckthorn tastes like. But, the one thing that Okanagan Spirits does really well with their liqueurs, because they've been doing it for so long, is this acidity. Like, you can see from my face, I'm puckering, is this acidity. And it balances off the sweetness so well. Seabuckthorn is sort of like a gooseberry crossed with a peachy sort of flavor. Oh, it's so hard to explain. I think gooseberry is close, but it's a really hard flavor to explain. But like, I'm just thinking about, I literally think about it having gin, like 1.5 ounces of gin, 3/4 ounce of these, one of each, 3/4 ounce of lemon juice, just shake it, strain it, and then taste each one. Because I feel like you do 4 cocktails with those proportions, and it's going to be spot on. Like, it's going to be a nice, balanced, sweet, sour, that sort of thing. A Seabuckthorn, yeah, it's a sort of funky gooseberry, I suppose, if that makes sense. But the acidity there, just puckering. Like, you don't get a lot of acidity from liqueurs these days because of how much sugar gets added and how much they pulverize the fruit and what sort of concentrates they use. But the acidity in the Okanagan Spirits liqueurs are just spectacular. I've got about 5 more liqueurs to do from them, which is mental. A couple more from Maple Leaf as well. But that is your 4 spirits, 4 liqueurs this week. I thank you everybody for your support for BC Spirits. I really, really appreciate it. I'm working on something big for this. I really hope it comes through because I just love the distilleries here in the province. I want to thank everybody for their support, whether you're a distillery, an enthusiast, a bartender, whatever. I really appreciate all your support. Thank you so much. I am trying to keep up with the videos. It's just really hard when I'm opening 3 venues in Singapore over a space of 15 weeks, which is just insane. So I'm trying my very, very best to keep you up to date with what's going on. Please go out, email these distilleries, ask for their product, order online, support them, support them, support them. Keep them in business, keep their lights on, keep them making fucking gangster products. But have a good week, guys. I really appreciate everything. Thank you all the distilleries while I was out in the Okanagan that hosted me. 100 million thank yous. But thanks a lot, guys. Have a good week. Bye.